What's up, humans, and welcome to a new Psicoactivo. Today is a prolific day because I'm going to be doing a bunch of videos because I have a lot on my mind that I need to talk about. The first topic of the day, and I forgot to tell you, happy Saturday, everybody. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're happy. I hope your bellies are full. I hope you're enjoying what we've been getting over the last week. I think that Jake Barber's interview was much better than the Monday piece on News Nation. But I want to talk about something else right now. Uh, Mr. Chris Bledsoe was recently on the Matt Beall show, and they talked about a lot of things. He even showed Matt Beall and his audience, which I am part of too, a video that he had never shown before. It's a short one, but you can see like a light there that is really close. It's kind of hard to make out what it is, but it's really cool. But one of the topics that I think they covered that I need to discuss is this.
I never told this. Nobody's ever heard this, except some scientists at NASA. And I've studied this for years with them, with the world's expert on tektites. You know, how's a tektite formed? What created tektites? Had to be by the sun. Why did they go to the moon in 57? Why did they create the geophysical year in 57, 58, where they showed the earth on fire with God's hand on a postage stamp, 3-cent postage stamp? So I was shown this vision of the sun expanding itself over Earth until it took up the whole sky. And then it flashed. Poof. And when it did, it destroyed this planet. So this was part of what they showed me. So I ended up studying years with that. And I think that may be what has happened in the past more than once.
So they showed you the sun expanding to the point where it destroyed the Earth.
Goes supernova.
Supernova, and then it collapsed back into itself.
Poof! When it hit the side of the Earth, what I saw was it flashed the Pacific side of the ocean, and it blew the sand and the water off, like shot it out into space. Created the icy comets, sandy icy comets, just flung way out in space and coming around. So then the Earth stopped rotating for 3 days, got lopsided, and then it started going the other way. And when it did, a wall of water come over the whole United States and created the Grand Canyon.
From west to east.
Yep, from east to west.
From east to west.
Yep.
So onto the East Coast,
it came from the East Coast and washed over California. Created the scab lands, created Nevada, Utah, those Washington area.
But that's the west coast of the United States.
Yeah, we went across.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay.
This was something they showed me. I've never told this. It's the first time I've ever told it.
Wow. Well, thank you. The exclusive, limitless exclusive.
Seriously.
That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So what do you think that means? Like when do you think that's something that we have the ability to change? Yeah.
Yes. And why that is something that I was explained by them, was that everything has a consciousness, including the Earth. The Earth is a living organism that is much like, lives in harmony with everything with it. But people, our collective consciousness can affect this planet, and it's doing it. It's like the day of the election, when they were counting the votes, the Schumann resonance was off the charts because everybody collectively was zeroed in on that thing. It wasn't the sun doing it, it was the collective consciousness of people. So the way she described it was, the more divided we become on this planet, the more division, the more war, the more negativity, the more the Earth will try to rid itself of what's causing this problem. And I think that these, and I'm speculating, right? But this is what I was told and what I was shown. So all I can do is reveal this, which I've never done publicly outside of scientists.
Yeah. So I know that there's a lot of people that don't really like when these topics get into a more spiritual or religious connotation to them. I've already seen folks who complain about Jake Barber's elements that are considered spiritual, you know? All I have to say to those people is we need to keep an open mind to everything, because whatever these religions understand as being spiritual or God or whatever, that doesn't mean that whatever was experienced in the world back then, millennia ago, that doesn't mean that it didn't happen. Something may have happened, but people misinterpreted it. That is very possible too. So whatever interpretation they have it doesn't really matter. What matters is whether many things that were anomalous at the time happened or not. And that's why I did that video on January 1st about Tom DeLonge, where he talks about the old gods that are supposedly coming back. That's what they call them, but they're not necessarily gods. We don't know what they are, if they exist. And if they do show up, it is important to keep an open mind just to try and get the better version of what we're dealing with, or the most transparent version of what we may be dealing with. And I think that part of what Chris Bledsoe talks about here, although it is very doomy, because people who are doomers will instantly jump and say, yes, that's right, that's going to happen, blah, blah, blah. What I see in this clip is something that I've been talking about forever. And one of the reasons that I sometimes do not engage with some people within ufology, because, and the rest of the world, because yes, I think we should fight for our ideals. I think we should fight for human rights. I think we should fight for women to have a say on their bodies. I think we should fight for people who are displaced from their countries and don't have any other choice. I think we should try and help them at least. It's the humane thing to do, you know. But also, I think that the world right now, specifically the US, is extremely divided by what seems to me like two different philosophies that are diametrically opposed. And I think that is slightly by design. They want us to be divided. I honestly believe that there is even some proof that whenever the collective decides on doing something, it has a massive impact on the rest of the world. And that is proof that consciousness is interconnected and is entangled. All of us are. So if we keep feeding ourselves with more negativity, more hate, more calling out, more war, more, you know, discrimination and all that, we're going to stay that way. And we're not going to get to that next step that humanity or any civilization from any planet is supposed to get to. The reason the Kardashev scale exists is because of something like this. The majority of civilizations do not reach level 1 civilization. And level 1 civilization means that there has to be a shift in consciousness so we can get to that next stage, to that next level, and stop thinking about petty stuff, stop thinking about violence, stop thinking about territorial feelings, stop thinking about segregation, tribalism, all of these concepts that define Homo sapiens sapiens right now. And if you ask, for example, Dr. Piotti, who has been talking about this for a while, he believes that there's a new type of human that is called Homo sapiens dissimilis. And he thinks that this is a different type of human that does not regard life and doesn't really care about anything at all but themselves. That's what Piotti says. I think that that could be the case, but I also have a lot of faith in people when they're not a hive mind. I still have no idea how we're gonna manage to overcome that. It's gonna be really difficult. But a good start would be to perhaps sit down in front of the other one, your enemy perhaps, and talk to them. Try and establish a dialogue, ask them what their problem is, why they don't like you, why they're angry. And if you have it within you, you can try and reach a middle point where everybody can be at least satisfied. Not happy, but satisfied. And the world right now is in a really tough spot. I think that we're at a crucial moment right now. I think that is perhaps one of the reasons why people like Jake Barber and other whistleblowers have come forward, because they can also sense that we are destroying ourselves as a collective and something needs to happen. There needs to be a shift in consciousness. And if that doesn't happen, I do think that we don't really have much of a chance, really. And I guess this is my attempt from this channel to tell you guys that although things seem really, really bad right now, I still think that we have a chance to turn things around. But we need to learn how to identify when we have some kind of reticent feeling against either someone, an ideology, a situation, and learn to identify it and learn to suppress it, because it is our responsibility to suppress those feelings in the best way we can. And I'm not saying don't express it. I'm saying there are ways to express it without harming others. That's what I mean, you know? And I agree with Chris there. I don't think that staying on this negative path is going to take us anywhere. I think that the reason he decided to not be part of, for example, To the Stars Academy or whatever Lou Elizondo is trying to do is because of that, because he is aware that the military and the government is looking at this phenomenon as just a threat. And I think there's a lot more nuance in whatever this phenomenon is. Whatever is happening with Chris is not negative. That doesn't mean that there are other things that aren't. There are, more than likely. Matt Beall did ask him, and Chris remained open to the possibility that yes, there may be other entities that are not positive at all. But I think that staying on that threat narrative, I think that is the way that we won't have a chance to get to that next level in consciousness. Because if you think that disclosure is the key to solving all of this, it's not. First, we are the ones who need to solve ourselves and our situation. That only happens if there's a shift in consciousness. That's the only way. And then when disclosure comes, if it does, we're going to be better prepared, because if we get disclosure right now as we are, I don't know what will happen. There's going to be a lot of chaos, I think. And I don't know if we will be able to handle that. The best way to try and do it, and the best chance we're going to get, is if we are on the same page and we understand that we all live in this world. We have to coexist with each other, whether we like it or not. And learning how to coexist with someone also means that we need to learn how to understand someone, even with all their mistakes, because nobody's perfect. You guys should know that by now. So I had a conversation with someone in the comments that kept telling me that this religious bullshit narrative is not going to take us anywhere and blah, blah, blah. I just think that we need to stay open to everything. And I understand that whatever Chris Bledsoe is experiencing, I do believe he's experiencing something, but if we go back to John Keel, for example, or Jacques Vallée, for example, this phenomenon has a capability to deceive people. So that is also possible. It's possible that that is also happening to Chris. We don't know. That's the point. I don't think even he knows. I think he is blinded sometimes by all of this positivity that is around him when he interacts with this phenomenon. But he needs to remain open too, that this phenomenon could be that trickster that Jacques Vallée talked about. And he can't really ignore that, you know? I agree with him. We need to stay on the positive type of energy and headspace and frequency. We do. But that is like completely unrelated to what the phenomenon is. I think that the first task at hand is us. And then we can start looking at the phenomenon from a better light. And I think that Jake Barber coming forward and also talking about this staying positive and staying on the path of consciousness evolution, I think that is the way to go. I do. Even if somebody has this religious connotation to whatever is happening, that is not important. And I'm going to keep repeating it until everybody listens. We need to do better. So that's what I think. I think that there's a lot of division within ufology as well. There's an ego war going on. Specifically, UFO Twitter is a mess. People are doxing each other and harassing each other and going into people's mentions and just accuse people of heinous shit. And I think that needs to change. And people who are doing that, if they don't listen, they need to be kicked out of the space completely. And honestly, I see people doing that on all sides, not just one or the other. There's shitty people on both sides. If we're taking this one side, two side argument, there's shitty people on both sides. And you guys know who you are. I still think that we can do something to prevent something terrible or something awful, but we have a lot of work to do. And those people that are engaging in that name calling and disrespecting others and harassing and doxing, you need to take a hard look at the mirror and maybe get your priorities straight. You know, can't keep doing this. It's not helping at all. But yeah, that's what I have to say for that. Let me know what you think in the comments about this, about Chris Bledsoe's overall message. Maybe that's just like a one of many different possibilities that could happen if we don't get to a middle ground between ourselves. It's possible that can happen. I'm not saying it's not, but please let me know what you think about this in the comments. If you like the content you see, I'm going to ask you to please like, share, comment, subscribe. Hit the bell icon so you can get notified when a new video drops. If you want to support the channel in any other way, there's a couple of links in the description. We also have a members channel. Welcome, everybody, and thank you for the support. And that's going to be it for today's video. And that's going to be it for this video. But I got more coming. So stay tuned and stay curious. Bye.